Shaiba Shamar Kakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS real well. Shalom, shalom, to the Akim throughout the four corners of the earth. Pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. Shalom to my Akim. That's out there doing the work. Wanted to make this video here because I saw that they're coming out. Disney's coming out with another Little Mermaid. Okay, they're doing the second round. This is the second round. Well, probably third, fourth, or fifth round of the Little Mermaid, honestly. But yeah. So they got to get the next generation. They got to get that next generation, locked in with the nonsense. Okay. So the powers that be over at Disney said, you know what, we can't come up with any new ideas, with anything that's going to really draw the people in. But we got a whole gang of old nonsense that that people are ready and willing to go out and spend their money on and bring their children in for their indoctrination. So let's go ahead and get a scripture right here. All right, this is out of Leviticus. Okay, chapter 18, verse 21. It says, well, first and foremost, let me make sure I'm getting this out of the King James, man. All right. Because we don't do that. We don't do the other versions. All the many other versions of the scriptures out there, Let's it be, strictly for edification, you know what I mean? But reading this out the King James Version, Leviticus 18:21, it says, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, okay? And Molech was a god of the Ammonites, all right, and the Phoenicians. But, we know that's basically talking about any of the false gods, man, who are not gods at all, okay? But we're not supposed to let any of our children pass through the fire, okay? And that fire being the other vain doctrines, okay? All the things that can be put out there for our children to fall into, man. These traps and these snares, okay? These stumbling blocks, man. All right, we're not supposed to put our children, to pass through these things, man. All right. And then the opposite of that, like it says in the scriptures, we're supposed to raise our children up in the way that they should go. Train them up in the way that they should go. But let me continue on with the scripture here. It says, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord Yahweh. Okay? So we're not supposed to cause our children to go, to go off, man. Which is a very easy thing to do here in Babylon, man, because we're surrounded by nonsense, man. We're surrounded by false doctrines, okay? We're surrounded by, these movies, okay, the music, television shows. I mean, they got a show out now. It's called Little Demon, something like it. On FX. I don't know if that's the name of it. You brothers, if you want to do a quick search on it or something like that, you can find it. It's terrible, and it's animated. So being that it's animated, you know that a lot of children, they see animation, they automatically want to take a look, take a peek. This is a show that's clearly not made for children. It's a show that's made for adults, and I think it's even advertised as such. But it's animated. So when a child sees an animated show, that piques their interest. Okay, they're curious about it, so they want to go and look. So here in Babylon, in this land of confusion, man, we're surrounded by these things, right? So that's why it's important for, parents you know, mothers and fathers um, to constantly be looking at what their children are taking in, man. Okay, constantly be looking at what your children are ingesting. Okay, not just ingesting meaning what they eat, with their mouth for nutrients, but what they're ingesting with their eyes, man. What they're taking in, what's going into their heads, man. Okay, so let me read that scripture one more time. It says, this is Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord Yahweh. Okay? So we're not supposed to let our, let our children get involved with anything that's going to cause them to go off. All right? As far as the doctrine of Salakia, not necessarily the doctrine, but go off in terms of the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High laid out for us. Okay? All right. So I got another scripture I'm gonna get here in a second. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this nonsense, man. All right. The Little Mermaid. And again, I'm not gonna make this real long. A lot of brothers, unless you're really, really young, you already know, what the Little Mermaid is about, man. It's really about a siren. Okay. A mermaid is just another name for a siren. And siren goes back to, the Greek mythology, or at least that name, siren goes back to Greek mythology. Okay, beautiful, supposedly beautiful women, who are in the islands. Okay, I would say the Caribbean. That's where you most hear about it, but I guess it could be, off any islands, and they lure sailors out to their island habitations or whatever through their beautiful song. Okay, so they sing. Some say it's a weeping, some say it's a wailing, but it sounds like a song to the sailors. They lure the sailors in, and then when the sailors are lured into the islands, they either crash their ships, okay, off the coast, all right, or they are succumb to jump off the ship to try and reach the sirens. I mean, there's a bunch of different iterations of how it goes, but it's basically witchcraft. Okay, they lure sailors, or they lure men through witchcraft. So you see in the story of the Little Mermaid, again, it's a pretty common story, but this same thing is happening. Okay, a beautiful voice has had this man. He's just bewitched by it, basically. Okay, and then there is a actual witch in the movie. Okay, Ursula, who steals the voice through sorcery, who steals the voice of the Little Mermaid, who was just basically a witch herself, or the representation of a witch. Okay, a siren. She steals the voice. Okay, turns Ariel, all right, the main character, into a mute. So it's just a lot of nonsense, man. But it's a basis of the plot, a huge basis of the plot is witchcraft. So Disney has said, okay, you know what? Here again, let's go ahead and put out the next round of wickedness, okay, and witchcraft for this next generation. Not only that, but they're using a Jake, okay, as the main character. Jake is going to be playing Ariel. I guess that's let me see if I can find Halle Bailey. Very original, very original. Not Halle Berry, Halle Bailey. Now Halle Bailey it says that she's a singer, American singer and actress, best known for being one half of the musical duo Chloe and Halle. All right, and this is just straight off of a Google search right here. Um, Born March 27th, 2000. So before getting cast for this role, this chick might not even. I'm sure she's heard of the Little Mermaid, but probably never watched the movie in its entirety. I don't know. You know, Disney. A lot of these cats in these Disney brought up in these Disney circles and stuff is weird. I mean, you don't just get cast for a Disney movie. You know, a lot of these artists rub shoulders, or their parents have rubbed shoulders with these Disney cats for years. You know, I mean that's a whole nother conversation for another video. Um, but you know, a lot of times when you get cast for these roles in these movies, it's because you know some things have gone on beforehand that have led you up to this point. It's not like they just put out a casting call and you know, hey baby, you want to play Ariel? You want to play Ariel, the Little Mermaid? I tell you what, they're doing a casting call. Let's go over there tomorrow and put on a good show and see how it goes. No, you know. So we know that Halle Bailey. I keep wanting to say Halle Berry, but Halle Bailey has probably you know done some stuff with these Disney folks in the past, or her parents have you know done some stuff or put her in some things with these Disney folks, or just rub shoulders with the right folks. Or there's another you know possibility. You know, Halle was in the right place at the right time, along with her Disney counterparts. Always, you know, again, it ain't just something that happened overnight. And she did some things, you know, things I'm not going to talk about on this live video, but you know, it involves you know probably having some explicit encounters with some producers. You know, um, and hey, you're hired. You got the part, right? Once you play that game, all right, you got the part. You're hired. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make with this is what they got a Jake. They got a Jake to do it. So now, not only are we going to have another generation, but this time it's specifically aimed at who? It's always going to be about Jake. Okay. It's always going to be aimed at Israelites. All right, the true Israelites that the Bible speaks of, man, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This next round of indoctrination is going to be aimed specifically at you. Okay? So we see this is not just coincidental. Okay? This is not just coincidental. The Little Mermaid was a very it's a classic. It's a classic in the Disney animated genres. Okay? It's a classic. I mean, you could put it up there with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Okay? Now we could say all the so-called Disney princess movies are classics, right? But let's look at some. Okay, Princess and the Frog. All right, that's a Disney princess movie, but it's not a classic like The Little Mermaid. Okay, uh, what's that one with Mulan? Mulan, right? That's another Disney princess. Okay, movie, but it's not a classic like Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. They make these you know blockbuster animated films, but they're not all classics. But The Little Mermaid is considered a classic. Okay, a big classic. Another one, Lion King, not necessarily a princess story, but they make blockbuster animated movies. So The Little Mermaid bringing this back out and then having a Jake cast, it's not a coincidence. Okay, they're aiming this iteration of the indoctrination specifically at Israelites. Okay? Why? Because being that we're in this time, okay, this prophetic time where, um, these folks, these folks are in an all out mad dash to try to get all of Israel to follow after the beast system, man. Okay, they're in an all-out mad dash to get Jake to go off, man. Okay, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. So that's why this thing is aimed specifically at you guys, man. All right, Shalaki got a lot of noise going on here, but yeah, so it's no coincidence. All right, it's no coincidence, man. Now we've seen it before. They had Cinderella, okay, another classic, and then they recast Cinderella as, I believe, Brandy, okay. When they recast it as Brandy for the live action film, okay. Again, not a coincidence. It's to get more Jakes. It's to get more Jakes on board, okay, with the nonsense, with the witchcraft, because Cinderella is also heavily laden with witchcraft, man. Okay, so this recast of the Little Mermaid is no coincidence. Halle Bailey playing Ariel, okay, and she's a so-called Negro. That's a very poignant part. All right, so we just have to be aware of that and spread the message. You know, spread the message, because you got a lot of Jakes, man. Who are gonna go off and go watch this movie. We just had to point out the witchcraft and the sorcery, okay, that's in these movies, man. And Disney's been exposed for a long time, man. There's nobody that's really surprised or ignorant, I should say, ignorant to what Disney is up to, man, and what they've been up to for years. Okay. Let me get this real quick. My internet kind of messing up, but it's just another scripture, because there's a lot of scriptures that could go with this particular point here, but this is Jeremiah chapter 10. I'm gonna just start from the top. It says, "Hear ye the word of the Salaki, hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel." Okay, so Babylon, okay, is trying to go after Israel as well. Okay, but we're supposed to what? Listen to the word of the Lord Yahweh. Okay, when He speaks to Israel. Verse 2, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." But the point is, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, okay? So a lot of these, heathen, so-called whites, Asians, so on and so forth, man. Everybody's going to run out and see these Disney films. Everybody. Okay, that's just how it goes. When a Disney film drops, everybody goes out and sees it, man. Okay. And honestly, they make some entertaining films. They make some entertaining films. Okay, if you can look at them through a spiritual lens. Okay, like the hopeful elect, the men of the Lord. All right, look at these films and their families. Looking at these films, it is what it is, man. It's just entertainment. Okay, but there's always elements of confusion, man. Okay, because that's what Babylon is about. There's always elements of confusion, man. All right, and witchcraft. Okay, witchcraft is part of that confusion, man. All right, the scriptures say, "Suffer not a witch to live," man. Okay, so these movies are heavily laden with witchcraft, man. And if your children are looking at it, those little elements sprinkled into their mind, okay, can go with them and be carried into, into adulthood, man. And then you have children. I mean, we've seen it, you know. Brothers and sisters my age see it. How a lot of these children who grow up watching these films have dabbled in witchcraft, man. Okay, whether they were killed off, whether the Lord, killed them off for it or not, you know, it is what it is, man. But we saw those of our peers coming up through middle school, junior high, and high school, dib and dabbing at witchcraft. Okay, why? Because it was portrayed as the norm through movies. Okay, television shows. All right, you had that movie, the Craft. Okay, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Okay, all these different Disney movies that portray magic and sorcery. Okay, so we gotta make sure that we're talking talking with our children. Of course, you know, you who I'm talking to right now probably already know this and understand this. Okay, but also your nieces and nephews. Okay, and your brothers and sisters about your nieces and nephews maybe going and watching these films and taking this stuff with them. Okay, because a child is not going to you know have that spiritual lens, um, or have that wisdom and that knowledge to understand what they're seeing, what's being portrayed on the film. They get caught up in the music, you know they get caught up in what's being shown on the big screen, and see Esau, man. Esau being a serpent, that he is, man. All this music and things, these songs are straight sorcery in and of themselves. Okay, so the magic is there in and of itself. When they're watching these things, man. When the children are watching, and the parents too, because you can watch it, and you know, if you're not, um, if you're not careful, even you'll be deceived. Okay, like the scriptures talk about, man. If you're not careful, you'll be deceived as well. Get caught up in the sentimental qualities of the movie, of the film. It'll take you back to your childhood. Okay, this is mostly for the women, man. But the men know these songs as well, man. How can we not, right? How can we not remember the songs from the Little Mermaid? Again, being a blockbuster classic for Disney, it was everywhere. So anyway, I'm not gonna make this too long. You know, for you brothers, you Akim, Akwath, who might be watching this film, watching this video right here. The film is going to be out in 2023. Okay. Um, Again, I encourage nobody to go out and watch it. Okay. But if you do, definitely don't bring any children along. This is not all right. This is my opinion right here. Let me say that. Okay. This is my opinion right here. This movie is not for children. Okay. This movie should be rated R. Okay, not G. No, I don't even know if they make G movies anymore, man. They should all have a PG-13, I guess you could say, maybe, rating on it, man. Shouldn't be no kids going out and watching these films. But this movie right here should have a X rated. It should be X rated, man. Have to be 21, 18 to 21 or something like that. I don't know, man. So gonna watch this film, okay? And definitely just watch it through a spiritual lens, man. Little Mermaid is nothing but a siren, man. Nothing but a siren. And the indoctrination, just like with all these other Disney movies, the indoctrination was strong. You literally got people out here that want to be mermaids, man. Now, whether that's from that film or not, you know, it's neither here nor there. But the mythology, all right, going back to the Grecian, okay, mythology, okay. Well, this is Babylon, man. Okay, it's all about the Greco-Roman Empire, man. All right, and have them going off the path, man. You know, years later, years down the line. Okay, and tell your brothers and sisters, man. Okay, of your kinsmen in the flesh. All right, like Paul talks about, of the Israelites, man. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man. Okay, forget about what these other folks are doing, man. They're gonna run out to the people are gonna run out to the theaters to see this. Okay, it comes out in 2023. I don't know what month, what day. I could probably check it out real quick, but probably early on. At the very latest, I would say by the summer. Okay, but probably early on here. I would say probably between March and June of next year is when this is going to drop. Maybe earlier. Who knows? But it's going to be a big thing, man. They're going to talk about it on your major networks: ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever, Fox, whatever big news. Uh, so like I don't know if that stop for a second. But they're gonna talk about it on all the big news stations, man. Just wait for it. When that happens, make sure you tell your brother, your sister, man, uh, to not go and watch this joint, okay? But anyway, um, again, Little Mermaid coming out. It's just the next round of indoctrination, man. Okay. That's my piece on it. With that, I'm gonna say shalom.